Hello and welcome to FTB Sports. This is the preview show for Brighton versus Spurs on Sunday, kickoff 7:15. And I'm joined again by my special guests, Mike and Darius. How are we both doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Recovered from the other night.
I was going to say, I'm still got a little bit of a down feeling. I'm still not really recovered from that game on Thursday. A lot of fallout from various different sources about what potentially happened. I've got things falling down behind me as well now. So it's been, you know what I mean? It's kind of been one of them last few days. But anyway, the good thing about football, the good thing about the Premier League is there's not very long to wait till the next game. And obviously we have another game versus Brighton on Sundays, as mentioned. But before we get into that, let's just, I guess, get some of your thoughts on Thursdays, the aftermath, what's been coming out in the press, certain stories and rumors, Harry Kane. Mike, what's your take on the fallout from the game on Thursday?
In football, regardless at all levels, if things aren't going your way in the heat of the moment, we all know it. We've probably all been in a situation in football whereby arguments have happened, and there's been some sort of fallout to what, obviously it varies, but I know there's been a few rumours, like with Serge getting annoyed and sort of walking out at half time. I mean, there's two ways you can look at that. One, you could look at it as he's done it in the heat of the moment, arguments have happened and he's just stormed out. You could argue that was unprofessional from him, but you don't know what was actually said in the change room, and it might have been the best thing for him in that situation to have done. I'm not excusing it. I'd rather him just sort of, if he was going to storm out, go upstairs and, I don't know, have a drink or something and calm down if that situation called for it. But I think Serge has been solid this season. He's massively improved. And when he's at right back, I think he's probably, out of the options we've got at right back, he's definitely the best choice for us. So I'm hoping it's not too much of a bad fallout and Mourinho just sees it as heat at the moment, one of those things. Let's just move on and let's get the 3 points for tomorrow and just put it to bed, because those sort of situations happen all the time, don't they? So
yeah.
I think we just need to sort of dust ourselves down for tomorrow's game and get those 3 points, which, again, weirdly, if results go our way today, things might not look too bad in the league. So
yeah. I guess from my perspective, there's with all these things, there's so many rumors and news, and obviously we've got various different social media outlets, you've got various different media outlets, and you don't always know what to believe. I heard that, you know, Joe Rodon was having a go at some of these players and saying they're not as good as some of the Swansea players he's come from. I've also heard that Lloris had a bit of a go at bloody Serge Aurier, and then Serge Aurier decided that he'd had enough. There's all kinds of things. I look at the actual game itself, and yeah, although I was very happy with the formation, I now look back and look at some of the personnel that actually started that game, and yeah, looking at some of the mistakes, it was criminal. I can't get over some of the mistakes.
And Jose did say in his press conference, because there was a few people saying, that press conference from Mourinho was terrible. He shouldn't have said what he said. But I personally didn't think he said anything bad, other than it was 3 individual errors, which when you put it into the grand scheme of things, and that was what cost us. 3 individual errors cost us 3 goals. Yeah, that's as simple as it is.
When you put it like that, it was. And looking back at the goals, Mane was involved in all of them. 2 of those shots that happened was the Lloris ones. Again, we have to almost temper, because Lloris is known for making those, but he hasn't done that sort of thing in a while. So again, I've got to kind of think, you know, but he made 2 in one game, and that's where the problem is. And same for Joe Rodon. The only mistake he really made in that match was what led to a goal. And then you kind of think, oh, if that happened and maybe this. Darius, what's your thoughts? I think you're on mute.
You're on mute.
I'm going to be a little bit cynical about the whole Aurier situation. Just obviously, I'm not going to believe the rumors, but you have to think now, if the rumor with Serge Aurier and Lloris is true, and I'm going to go with that story, that they had an argument and Aurier didn't take what Lloris said very well and left. You have to kind of look at it now. There's been a lot of cases that Lloris has been involved in where he's kind of gone at the players. And I don't know if that's a case of Lloris showing his leadership and just galvanizing his team, and that's how he motivates the team, or if it's a little bit deeper than that, and he's kind of causing these frustrations when really and truly, if it is over the goal, and I kind of devised this with Sam a little bit earlier, and I kind of said if this argument did arise from Lloris and Aurier, then it's probably got to do with the fact that Aurier didn't maybe track Mane's run, which led to the ball being played across the box.
You're right.
Yeah, but in the grand scheme of things, like I look at that goal, that ball that was played across the box could have been smothered by Lloris. So if I'm Aurier and Lloris is even going for me for that goal, I wouldn't storm out. Obviously, I don't think you can storm out and potentially leave your team, but I would not be happy. I promise you that. I would kick up a fuss, because at the end of the day, Lloris has made that mistake, in my opinion. Dyer shouldn't be clearing that ball, because if it goes in the back of the net, we'll be like, Dyer, why did you kick the ball? Lloris should have thrown his body on that ball, commanded that ball, and it wouldn't have been an issue. I guess Aurier could have tracked the runner of Mane, but again, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and there's not one person that could argue with what you're saying there. Lloris should have smothered that ball. There is no one on this planet who could say otherwise. I mean, even Dyer, and that's why Dyer was holding back, because you could see he's like trying to guard.
Well, look at Sanchez against West Ham. He wanted to stick a leg out, and it was an own goal. So I don't blame Dyer for that. Again, you could wallop it and you could get it clear, but if you miss the ball, you're going to look worse. So I think in that situation, as a captain of the team, the World Cup winning goalkeeper, you need to be commanding, and you need to say, this is my ball, and if I take a kick, if I take a foot, I'm doing it for the team. And Lloris just didn't do that.
And it's the same and it goes the other way as well. If I'm getting that ball and you're in the way, I'm going through you. Yeah. So you've got don't sort of expect anything else. If the ball's there to be won, I've got to go for you to get it. I will. Yeah. That's 100%. What I'd expect from my keeper. But
so I look at it the way they came out in that second half. Spurs, I'm talking about. We had, I think, only one shot on target in the whole of the second half, which was the
one shot, goal. Not even on target, just one shot.
And that says it all. So there must have been something that happened in that dressing room. There must have been some disagreement, some disharmony. The biggest thing for me now is how we address that going forward into this next game, because this next game isn't going to be an easy game. I always like to say there's no easy games in the Premiership, and that's proved when you see the likes of Sheffield United go to Old Trafford and win, having got 5 points after 19-20 games. So you can't take anything for granted. I would hope that we would go in, and I think looking at some of the odds here, we are going to go into this game as favourites. But where and how do you think Spurs go about getting this victory? Darius, I'll come to you for that one firstly.
Making sure that I think we have to attack this game, because I've been looking at the way I've been watching Brighton this season, and Brighton defensively are a very good team. I know when you look at the position in the table and stuff, it might not suggest that they are defensively sound, but if you look at Brighton, they don't concede that many goals. I was looking at a few of their previous games, and the 3-3 with Wolves was one of the only games where they conceded more than 2 goals, and I think in the past 7 or 8 games. So Brighton have a defensively solid system. They've got 3 absolutely massive centre-backs, or 2 massive centre-backs who are going to sweep up crosses. So crossing is not going to be the way forward. And this is what makes me kind of fearful about this game, because Tottenham don't really know how to build attacks from the ground or from when we're dominating games. There's not really, the only people that I see making subconscious runs are Kane and Son off of each other. So with Brighton, have got 6'7" Dan Burn and 6'5" Lewis Dunk. Balls in the box aren't going to work. Balls over the top aren't going to work. If you watch that Liverpool game, the amount of times I was seeing diagonal balls being played, trying to exploit that high line, it's not going to work with Brighton. They're not a team that plays a high line and will sort of, do you know what I mean, concede balls behind them, because they've got big players to sort that out. And again, if Tariq Lamptey comes back in, they're going to have good fullbacks. The only problem with Brighton is they don't have not even world class. They don't have a very good goal scorer. They brought Danny Welbeck in to kind of increase those numbers to help Neil Maupay with the goal scoring. But even then, you're not going to expect Danny Welbeck to put 15, 20 goals in a season. So yeah, for me, this game is won in obviously our attacking style of play, and we've lost Harry Kane, so that's going to be a challenge. But defensively, I don't think if we play well, we shouldn't really have a problem with Brighton, because like I said, Brighton aren't really known for scoring, and they don't have an attacking very, very talented. I don't want to say talented because that's rude, but they don't have an out and out goal scorer, is basically what I'm trying to say. So if we can maintain that defensive solidity and we can push on a little bit more attacking wise, then we can beat Brighton, not comfortably, but I think we should beat Brighton at least. I would say 3-1. We should be beating Brighton even without Harry Kane.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I'll come to you then as well, Mike, in terms of the same sort of question. How do you see us winning this game? Because we need to win. I think even if it's just for this tag that we always come back to, this Spursy tag, and I look at it as being, we played Liverpool. Liverpool, we haven't beaten them in the league, and this is the 4th game in the row that they've beaten us in the Premiership. And even though they had, as I said on the reaction show, they had probably the weakest team I've seen for the last 3 years. They're league champions, and they're confident when they come to us. I looked at the actual, again, the odds, and Liverpool were favourites going into that game, even though we were at home. So you put all that together and you think, is it a surprise that we lost? It's a surprise that we lost in the manner that we lost, given the mistakes. But if you kind of look at it overall, I think in the last 6 games, including cup games, Liverpool have beaten us 6 times. So again, forgetting that, looking towards Brighton now, how do you think we can win this game?
I think I echo probably what Darius has said. I mean, if we start playing long balls, going long, whether it's diagonal or over the top, we're probably not going to get much joy, like Darius said. But if we can keep the ball on the deck, and if we're quick with our passing, quick on the attack, and like the through balls to Vinicius when he played the other I can't remember what game it was where he came on, but if the passing and the through balls are quick to him and he can latch on to them because he's quick, but everything needs to be done quickly to get Brighton, because they're big. They are, like Darius said, they are big units, 6'7", 6'5". You're not going to win much in the air against them unless it's through luck. But on the deck, they shouldn't be that quick getting across the ground. And that's where I think if we can keep a ball on the floor, play our football, and play with an intent that's quick, I think that's probably where we can get some luck. And it's a game that we should be winning. We should be dominating.
Tottenham have won the 7 of the past 9 meetings in all competitions versus Brighton. So, we are favourites going into it, which is, I would say. But I'm just looking at this fallout could be because of the Harry Kane situation. And again, we're looking at rumours between 2 weeks and anything to 2 months. So we can't really say when he's coming back at this moment.
He has his scan. I think his scan's this weekend or Monday or something like that. So we'll find out soon.
So our reliance on Harry Kane is going to be now tested in terms of who we replace him with. I think, as you said, the way we're going to go about winning this game, Brighton are a possession-based team. They are going to have the ball. So I can't see too much change from the way we have our low block and defend. What we seem to do at the moment is try and get an early goal. But on Thursday, we're close to getting that early goal. The offside was with Son. If we can get the first goal, then again, I can't see anything other than a defensive counter-attacking style of play.
And I think that's the way we should do it as well, by the way.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. What will be interesting, though, is if the game is tight, it's 0-0, or maybe even Brighton go up in the game. That's what I want to see from the setup in terms of, right, how do we get this goal back? Because I don't think we've done that very well in many games this season. We've lost a lot of leads from winning positions. I don't remember too many games where we've been a goal down and really turned on the style to kind of come back into the game. I'll tell you the one game that I can think about that literally epitomizes what you just said, and that was a Manchester United game. And look how well we played. Yeah, but the Manchester United game again, the players were so motivated in that part of the season, and they had because it was 2-1 up until the point that Martial got sent off, and then obviously all the rest of it. So you're right, that game was probably the only game I remember where we had an attacking intent to really go at the team having been down. So it's going to be interesting because Jose now, for me, is under a bit of pressure. I think he's put himself under the pressure. With his substitution, his changes, his formation, his lineup, all the rest of it. So he's really now got to show the reasons as to why he is this elite manager. He's won all these trophies. So in terms of the starting 11, what changes do we anticipate?
I'll let Mike take this one first.
The change, I think we'll keep the same formation going into.
You think he'll go for that 3-4-3 still?
Yeah, I think he will, because I don't think there's anything wrong with that formation. And against the right opposition, it does allow your wing backs to push right up, and if we're attacking, it allows them to push up. But if we're defending, it also allows them to put that pressure on the fullbacks as well. But I honestly think he probably will keep that formation. And I think I think Toby will come in. He has to come in. I can't. Who for? I think he'll probably sacrifice Rodon for this game.
I don't think he will. He's quite well. He made it clear in his after press conference that Rodon's definitely playing this game. So if he says that, I don't think he can really go back on his word.
I haven't heard. I didn't hear him say that.
Yeah. But just to put you in the picture, he said after the Liverpool game, when he was mentioned about the mistake Joe Rodon said, he basically said Joe Rodon had a great game. Obviously, the mistake was something, but he took that out of context from his actual performance. He said his performance was really good, and for sure, he was using the words like, for sure, he's going to be starting the next game. So that tells me that he's probably going to start Joe Rodon. But I think you're right, because he's going to start Joe Rodon. I think to maybe protect him as a player a little bit more, he might work better with having 3 centre backs. So I think he's not going to go to a 2. So I guess from that perspective, that kind of leads me to believe that he probably will play the 3 at the back. The interesting thing, though, is who he's going to play in those wing-back areas, because I cannot, for the life of me, and I don't want to do this, but he's getting onto that list of the Sanchez list, is Doherty. Doherty, for me, is almost going to put himself on that list, in that bucket for where I don't want to see him play at this moment in time. He can change that.
I understand that.
But he's got to do a lot more to convince me that we've bought him. Because he's played, what I'm saying is he's played in a wing-back role for Wolves for all his, maybe a lot of his career. And I haven't seen him play a really consistent attacking game. He's had a couple of spurts, but not consistent enough at fullback or wingback.
I think with Doherty, there's been a lot of people like I've on social media and stuff. Doherty's not good enough, etc. But you don't become a bad player overnight. I just think Doherty's just lacking confidence. I know that's all I think it is with him. I think there is a good player in him, but I think I just think he's lacking confidence, and that's. I mean, I hope that's all it is. But I can see probably Davis going out to left. If we do go over the 3 centre backs, I reckon Davis will go back out. It makes sense for Davis to go out as a left wing back. I think it depends on the situation with Aurier. I mean, it depends, and it also depends on what we believe has been said. But I think Aurier at right wing back, and I think the midfield 3 probably pick itself. I think Sissoko will probably come in for this one.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think. The only other, I suppose the main change, if it happens, will be who replaces Harry Kane, and I'd like to see Vinicius get given a start. But will it happen? Will he put Son up top and maybe put someone out on the left like
very
Mora
annoyed if
or
I
Lamela?
I'd be very annoyed if I see Son in that middle.
Yeah.
Darius,
Same here.
sorry, Mike. Darius, you told me what you think your starting 11 may be. Your ideal,
I
and your formation as well, and your formation.
So Mike, I think you've got it spot on with the Davis moving out to left back. I think Doherty's going to be the sacrifice in that back 3. I don't know how I feel, because if Tariq Lamptey starts and Davis is out left back, I'm going to be a bit fearful, because pace-wise, Tariq Lamptey will beat Davis every time. We will have an extra body in defense to kind of support Davis, but if Tariq Lamptey is playing in that right wing-back role, I am going to be a bit fearful, because Brighton can play around players. They're very good at knocking the ball in triangles and exploiting space. So I will be quite fearful if Davis is left wing-back and Lamptey's right wing-back. If he's not, I don't have a problem with playing 5 at the back and having Davis at the back, because it allows Davis to kind of shift in and cover that edge of the 18-yard area where he likes to have his fullback, and that will allow Bergwijn to kind of be that left winger. If this is what I'm assuming, if we play 3-4-3 I want to see Bergwijn or Son on each wing. I want to see Vinicius kind of using his strength and slightly taller and more muscular build to kind of hold up centre-backs a little bit better, because it's going to be difficult to kind of play balls even into Son when you've got Dan Burn and Lewis Dunk, or you've got, because what they do is I'll have Dan Burn and Lewis Dunk as the two centre-backs, and I'll have Ben White kind of like roaming, picking up, and he's a very good little player, Ben White. So it's going to be difficult for players to kind of play the ball around three centre-backs like that. So it's going to be important. It's going to be important for us to make sure that we are quick in the transition for the counter-attacks. I think that's where we'll beat Brighton, because like you said, Brighton are a possession-based team. They play the ball along the floor. So if they are moving the ball quite freely and they are pushing their line high, if we can start a counter-attack, and again, I'm going to go what Sam said about the Liverpool game. The first touches on the players, on the majority of those players in that Liverpool game, was just not good enough. It was not Premier League standard. I've seen balls flying off players. If we can control that and improve that, get a better first touch, turn half turn like Ndombele does, and really catch them on the counter attack, that's where we'll beat Brighton. Because again, you can have your big tall centre backs, but they're not the fastest centre backs. So again, if there's no Lamptey in defence and we do match up with the 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, I do have confidence that we can exploit Brighton's weaknesses. I do have confidence in my team. It's just, who is going to start instead of Kane? I'm worried. I'm fearful.
Do you think Bale start?
Oh, well, let me just, before we answer that, let me just get to this comment here firstly. So we've got Premier Hotspur TV. Morning, guys. Keep the shows coming. I want to see Vinicius up top tomorrow with Son, Bale in a front three. So we've got comments here from Premier Hotspur TV. He wants to see Bale and Vinicius. Well, is it Vinicius? Yeah. And Son in that front three. Do I think Vinicius is going to start? I hope so. Do I see Bale starting? I'm doubtful. I forgot that Brighton do play a back three most of the majority of the time. So it looks more and more likely that we are going to have this back three, given what we've said, given what Jose said, given the players that we've got available. Yeah. I think Alderweireld will come in for
Doherty. It has to be, doesn't it?
I'm thinking now. I've got to think. Right. I think. Okay. I'm going to go for the starting lineup of this. I'm seeing Lloris in goal. I really think the fallout from Aurier, because of that, I don't think he's going to play. I think they're going to have to do something to make sure that it doesn't happen again. If Tanganga's not injured, I think he might come in at right wing back. I think the back three, he's going to play Dyer. Doesn't matter what happens, Dyer's playing. I think Rodon plays. I think Alderweireld comes in. That's what I'd like to see. And as you guys have said, see Ben Davies at left wing back. I then see, to get the best out of Ndombele, I think he has to maybe play a little bit higher in certain games, particularly when teams are possession based, because you don't want him to be too far back in the block to then get the ball and be picking it up too deep to have to do something. So I think they'll play possibly, Hojbjerg will play. And then alongside him, I think maybe Winks or Sissoko. It's
going to be a battle with Bissouma in that middle, though. I think it probably would be Sissoko, just because Bissouma. Winks versus Bissouma does not seem like a good matchup to me. So,
and I think because of that physicality aspect, I can see Hojbjerg and then Winks, then on Ndombele just in front, and then the front three. This is where I'm like, what is Jose going to do? He has to play Vinicius for me. Regardless of whatever else, he has to, because this is a team which is in the lower half of the division. And there's no other better opportunities, given that Kane's out. Let's say Kane's out for 2 weeks.
He's injured.
Yeah, let's say Kane's out for 2 weeks. If this guy doesn't play in this 2 weeks, he's never going to play. He's never going to play. So he's got to start for me. I would then say Son will be on the left side. And then do you start Bale? I don't see it. I think, as you said, Bergwijn will probably start.
But I'm fine with that. You got the assist for Hojbjerg's goal. Can you really find it within yourself to drop Bergwijn from this team?
You say that, but common sense tells us. Common sense tells us we shouldn't. But this is not a common sense approach that we have with a player like Bale at the moment, because there's so much pressure that's being heaped on us, because he's now being said he's fit, and the media said he's fit, and why is he not playing? We're playing 300 grand a week. What's he doing? Why are we doing this? This is a waste of time. So the pressure's on. If someone's declared themselves fit and he's looking better, and he's Gareth Bale, at the end of the day, no matter what we think about his ability now compared to 7 years ago, this is Gareth Bale, a 4-time European Champions League winner.
Which, if Bale does start, then I don't think Vinicius will, because I think he'll probably then go Son, Bergwijn, Son, Bale.
Is that in the 10, or is that
doesn't...
as a Bale up front and then Bergwijn and Son on either side? So would you play like a player in the 10 and then 2 of them up front, or would you play Bale up front and then 2 of them out wide?
I would play Bale in the... If this was me, I'd play Bale in the 10 and the 2 up front. But I don't think Mourinho would do that.
No, I don't see that. I think they can probably flex into that, but I think if you're looking at a standard formation, and the formations are only they're only paper. You know, when you're attacking, I keep saying this, it's got to be fluid. The defensive side of things, you get to see the shape. But then when you're playing a 3 at the back, you then have your wing backs to come and make that 5. So it can kind of flex in that sense. I would like to see Gareth Bale given an opportunity to be able to almost have a free role in and around. But then you kind of then saying, well, Dembele might have that if he plays in the 10.
Exactly.
So you can't really have 2 players in that sort of same position unless you change your formation, which then means you've got to drop someone like Winks to accommodate, to have, you know, a Højbjerg and then 2 in front of that. And I don't see him changing that drastically. It's going to be interesting. It really is going to be interesting. I don't know if we've got any more comments coming through. So we've got another one from Premier Hotspur TV. Vinicius has to start for me. This is why we bring him to cover Kane, so he doesn't start. Then to me, what is the point in him really being there? What's your opinions on that, guys?
I agree. I know he's on loan. I know he's got a £38 million buy-out clause, option to buy clause. I understand that. But at the end of the day, right, you have to look at it. He's a striker. He's a decent-sized striker. He's got a good build, and I've seen him play. I don't care if it's Europa League games. I don't care if it's Marine. I've seen him play, and I can tell that he has a footballing brain. And by that, I mean he's intelligent. He will guard defenders. He will find a ball, kind of what Kane does. Obviously, he's not on Kane's level. He's not going to get 12 goals, 11 assists in however many games Kane's got that in. But what I can see from Vinicius is an effort and a willingness to try. And do you know what I mean? He makes intelligent runs. He does make intelligent runs. I'll actually say, and I've always said this with Jose's teams in attacking, I've complained that when we're dominating games and we're needing to get a goal, there's not really any sort of attacking impetus, attacking play. There's not any subconscious runs. Vinicius does that. He makes runs regardless who's got the ball, regardless what's going to happen. And that can be so helpful, because with players like Winks, who like to play those Hollywood balls, even if you don't make it half the time, if you've got a player running, who's going to be able to tell if a defender is going to make a mistake or not? So just those runs alone pressures defenders, puts pressure on defenders, and allows your players to kind of, see, there's an opportunity. If he makes a run and I play a good ball, there's always an opportunity. And that's why I like Vinicius, and that's why I want to see him play.
It's almost like there's 2 aspects to Vinicius, because he can play that game whereby if the ball's played into him, he can hold it up and bring others into play. But also, I've seen it whereby he can also play off the last defender. And if the balls are coming through for him to run onto, he will play off the last defender. 100%. And he's quick. He's quick. He's probably quicker than well, I don't know if he's quicker than the Son, but he's definitely quicker than Kane. So I like Vinicius. I just think he needs to be given a chance and just be like, that's what you got.
A lot of people keep saying that he's only played against farmers and, you know, small fry type teams, but he scored goals in his appearances. He's got, I can't remember what his stats are, but he's done pretty
6
well.
Goals
almost
in 12 games. The minute ratio will be better, because obviously he's those about 8 of those games he was coming off the bench, wasn't he? In like 80-minute Premier League.
I think Jose maybe has some slight doubts about his hold-up play. But again, if you don't get the guy in there to get that physicality aspect, to kind of get used to that cut and thrust of the Premiership games, you're never going to know. I think he's built enough to be able to take that. Maybe that's not what he has done previously at Benfica. Maybe he didn't have to be that hold-up guy, but he does look and appear to have a target man type physique. So it looks like he's and I keep saying he's very adaptable. He's played out wide, he's played in the middle, he's dropped in as a 10.
He was a centre back at the start, wasn't he?
And he started off as a centre back. So positionally, you know, he's somebody that you could bring into the team, even when you're like, you know, the last 5 minutes of a game, and they're throwing crosses in, corners, getting back in there, defending. He should be able to do that. So I just go on.
He's got that knack as well, hasn't he? Be in the right place at the right time. Because I mean, a couple of goals that he got against Marine, he just happened to be there, and you can't coach that. You've either got it or you haven't. Where if you know where to be at the right time, the right place. At the end of the day, if he has a bad game but knocks in a couple of goals, I'll take that all day long.
He's not even our player, mate. That's the thing. He's not even our player. So it's not even like, I think that might be the reason why he's not giving him as much of a chance. He might want to develop the players that he's got, but for me, it's like, even if he has a horrendous 5-6 games while Kane's out, don't buy him then. If you're not going to buy him anyway, just don't buy him.
You've just got to give him the chance. You've now got
as long
to
as we win the games.
Yeah, like if you're going to go and play Son up front now in this game against Brighton, and you're going to play him up front in the game against Chelsea, and he goes and gets injured, and now you've lost Kane and Son, and now you have to play Vinicius.
Yeah, and that's not what you want. You don't want to have to be a desperation to play him. Let the guy play. Keep some of these other players, because we're now going to have to rotate some of these front line. Moura's probably going to get a few more games depending on how long Kane's out. Lamela is definitely going to get more game time because Jose loves him. Son has to be rotated because we can't afford to lose Son again with Kane. No. That double injury that we had last season was just
whole season.
It's derailed us. We could talk about this all day, but I know we've got to wrap up soon. So I want to get your score predictions on this now. Darius, what's your thoughts on score?
I said 3-1 early, didn't I? Now I'm like, probably not. I'm gonna go 2-1, and I think it's gonna be 2-1 because I do believe that Tottenham will take the lead, and it will be a carbon copy of what we normally do. It will be a take the lead, defend. Brighton will probably score, but I do think that we'll have enough to score again. I don't think Brighton have got a good enough attacking striker to score 2 or 3 goals against us, where we have a good defense. We're a good defensive team. Don't think Brighton are going to get more than 1 goal against us, but it's Tottenham. So there's going to be an inevitable cross goal, Dan Burn or Lewis Dunk headed it in. And then, I think we'll probably still win. So 2-1 Spurs.
Okay. Premier Hotspur TV. For me, guys, this is a must win, and Jose has to start an attacking team and get at Brighton from the off. So I'm going a tight 2-1 win for the Spurs, but keep up with the good show, guys. Thank you very much, Premier Hotspur TV. We'll also be looking out for you on YouTube. Mike?
If we play Vinicius in Kane and keep that same the same shape to what we've had when Kane has played, then I think we'll be successful tomorrow, and it'll be a comfortable win. And on that basis, I'm going to go. If Vinicius plays, I'm going 2-0. If Son plays, and then our shape is all a little, like the shape of the team's all changed a little bit, I can see it being a tight 1-0 win. So I'm going to go 2-0. Okay.
My thoughts are I'm very skeptical of us keeping clean sheets. I think the pressure's on us. I think the 3 at the back will maybe help a little bit more if we bring in Alderweireld, but I always think that we are somehow going to concede a goal. It's now whether or not, without Kane, the goals can still be continuing to go in, and they have done to a point. I think it's being tight. I think it will be tight, and I'm going to go 2-1 on this one to Spurs. I think we'll scrape it. I don't think it's going to be a commanding performance. I just don't think the confidence at the moment after that Liverpool performance is going to be there. But this is where the manager needs to come in and show, right, this is how I can affect the team. I can affect you guys by doing X, Y, and Z. His substitutions need to be spot on. If we are having to chase the game, who do you bring on? If we are going to have to change the shape, who do you maybe change in terms of the pieces in this jigsaw?
And if we do change the shape, can I actually see like an impetus and like an actual effort to see that you're making a sort of tactical change when you change the shape? Because we went from 5-4 and nothing really happened, did it?
I think the personnel,
positive changes, doesn't it? Yeah. Positive changes early doors. If it's not going right for us, don't wait till the 80th minute. If we're chasing the goal, do it early doors and get the changes done, and then go from there.
I think some of the personnel, like I said, Doherty for me, even when he went to that from left wing back to right full back, he didn't play good. He had a really terrible game, and the goals all came down that side. You know, it was really a bad performance. We're going back into Liverpool. Let's not regress. I don't want to think about that anymore. So we're all going for a Spurs win. So just recap what you guys have said. Was it 2-0 or 2-1, Mike? That you said
2-1.
2-0. Darius is saying 2-1. I'm saying 2-1 as well. Lads, it's going to be a rocky road till the end of the season. I think We have got a cup final.
Were we
to
not
look forward
prepared for
to,
this?
but I'm just saying we need to maybe buckle up now, because the next few weeks, knowing what's going to happen to Kane is going to mean we're going to be in for a bumpy ride. We're going to be in for a bumpy ride in the press. And I just don't want Jose to put himself under any more unnecessary pressure, and the team, by doing things that we really shouldn't do. Don't do the Jose thing where, look, I've only got these players, so I'm going to play these rubbish players to show the board. I don't want to see any of that. I just want us to get on with the job in hand.
Signings, didn't he? Yeah, true.
He got his signings. He's already come out in early part of the season and said, I'm happy. So if you're happy, show us you're happy and get on with it. Guys.
I mean, I was just going to say, if he brings out, if he plays a poor team just to make a point to the board, he's going to lose that. He'll lose the dressing room. He'll lose the team, and it'll just
lose everyone.
Yeah, he can't do that for his own sake. He cannot do that. Oh, that'd be a massive own goal. I'll be sacking him myself.
Well, let's see what happens in this game tomorrow. So, guys, like, subscribe, share, comment, please. We are on the road to 500. We are going to be giving away a free a free football shirt of your choice when we get to 500. So there'll be a draw taking place for that. So again, like, subscribe, share, comment. Gentlemen, look forward to seeing you both on the reaction show. I'm hoping it will be a positive reaction show. The last one was a bit heated and a bit long. 200
comments if we lose.
But if we lose again, you know what's going to happen. So be prepared for that. So we're going to go out with this. See you guys again, and look forward to a positive reaction show.